severe Crohn's and UC. Gut-focused Entyvio works right where you need it to block inflammation in your gut. With a legacy of more than 10 years, Entyvio offers the experience you need, lasting relief and steroid-free remission. And some people experience rapid symptom relief. Infusion and serious allergic reactions can happen during or after treatment. Entyvio may increase risk of liver problems and serious infection. Although unlikely, PML, a rare brain infection that can result in death, cannot be ruled out. Your doctor may test for TB. Tell your doctor if you are prone to or have an infection, sores, or flu-like symptoms. With Entyvio, you may be able to pay as little as $0 per dose. Ask your doctor if Entyvio, including the Entyvio pen, is right for you.
Gut focused Entyvio.
I'm sorry, sweetheart. I can't hear you.
If you're having difficulty speaking on a regular phone, this is a special message for you. The clear caption service allows you to read on a screen exactly what the caller is saying. It makes it easy to understand and respond immediately. There's no insurance or Medicare required. Clear caption service is provided at no cost through a federally managed program. That's right, completely paid for by a federally managed program set up to help people with hearing loss.
Okay, your appointment is set for Wednesday at 3:30 p.m.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Any questions?
No, I'll see you then.
Give your loved ones the connection they deserve.
There is no insurance or Medicare required. Clear caption service is provided at no cost to you. We deliver, install, and train you on how to use your phone.
Call 1-800-643-0567. That's 1-800-643-0567. 1-800-643-0567.
Sail through the heart of historic cities and unforgettable scenery with Viking. Unpack once and get closer to iconic landmarks, local life, and cultural treasures. Because when you experience Europe on a Viking longship, you'll spend less time getting there and more time being there. Viking, exploring the world in comfort.
Lily doesn't play like she's 62. She plays like you owe her something. And with Insure Max Protein, she always collects.
Told you she still plays.
You're in your prime, so keep it that way. Insure yourself.
Do you have a life insurance policy you no longer need? Now you can sell your policy, even a term policy, for an immediate cash payment. Call Coventry Direct to learn more.
We thought we had planned carefully for our retirement.
But we quickly realized we needed a way to supplement our income.
Our friends sold their policy to help pay their medical bills. And that got me thinking. Maybe selling our policy could help with our retirement.
I was skeptical. So I did some research and called Coventry Direct. They explained life insurance is a valuable asset that can be sold.
We learned we could sell all of our policy or keep part of it with no future payments. Who knew? We sold our policy. Now we can relax and enjoy our retirement as we had planned.
If you have $100,000 or more of life insurance, you may qualify to sell your policy. Don't cancel or let your policy lapse without finding out what it's worth. Visit CoventryDirect.com to find out if your policy qualifies, or call 1-800-651-0200. Coventry Direct, redefining insurance.
The Whole Story with Anderson Cooper. This week, Sarah Seidner goes inside the ring for a look at a history-making event.
The USC is at the White House. Isn't that political? And just being there.
The Whole Story with Anderson Cooper, Sunday at 8 on CNN.
Closed captioning brought to you by Mesobook.com.
If you or a loved one have mesothelioma, we'll send you a free book to answer questions you may have. Call now and we'll come to you.
800-821-4000.
Are there other skeletons from your past that still may emerge in this race?
No.
Is there something new you want to get ahead of?
No, I mean, like I've lived my life. I know what I've been through. I know what my behavior has been. I know all of it.
The presumptive Democratic Senate nominee in Maine, Graham Plattner, has repeatedly said there would be no more scandals. But over the weekend, multiple news outlets reported that Plattner's wife, Amy Gertner, told a campaign aide last year that her husband sent sexually explicit messages to other women early in their marriage. The couple was married in 2023. In a statement provided to CNN, Gertner said she felt deeply hurt and betrayed by the former campaign aide who spoke to news outlets about the messages. She also released a 5-minute video after news broke defending their marriage.
no marriage is perfect, and I don't want a perfect marriage. I want my marriage, and I want to be married to Graham. I knew the man that I married had been through an immense amount of violent, active combat, and he's been in therapy for years. I admire the out of him.
So both Plattner and his wife trying to do damage control, calling it gossip and a distraction.
It's no surprise to me that the establishment media outlets are just going to run gossip instead of wanting to talk about the things that actually matter in this race, which are the material realities that the Mainers are working with.
My panel is back. That's a modern day stand by your man moment.
Yeah, I don't love it. I don't think that, like, I'm not going to sit here and defend any man and their actions, but to put your spouse out there, to really put your spouse out there and have them be sort of the first voice from your campaign is doing a lot for, you know, not only to your relationship, but also to your spouse. I think that, listen, they knew about this from the beginning, and there are opposition research books that come out. Sounds like a campaign aid, or the Amy Plattner disclosed this. And so whenever you say this is gossip or this is just the media, or you blame the media, it's not necessarily fair to do that. You knew this was going to come out at some point. Your campaign should have been prepared for it. And if you don't like it getting coverage, then maybe you should have never run in the first place. And so I think that is what's at stake here. But at the same time, I mean, whether or not voters care about this, I'm not sure. With costs being high, this is his own personal marriage, as they've talked about. That has been the messaging from the campaign. But you also had Janet Mills go out and say, I'm still on the ballot, which I found very interesting as well. So I think there are going to be some interesting dynamics over the next few months. And it'll really be up to voters about whether this means anything to them or whether they care about cost of living.
And the laws in Maine do suggest that it's maybe not set in stone, or doesn't have to be set in stone. And Alex Thompson, I mean, what are you hearing from Democrats about this?
Well, there's deep concern because this is just the latest crack in what was a very well-crafted brand that has been put forward. You know, it was not this that inserted his wife the first time. Graham Plattner inserted his wife into this campaign from the very beginning. They'd been talking very openly about some fertility issues. He had made his marriage part of his pitch. And now you are seeing some more complications to that. You know, he obviously has presented himself as an oyster farmer, but then the financial disclosures come out and it shows that, you know, his income comes from disability, and that the oyster farm that he works on doesn't really make much money and often is supplying his mom's restaurant. You also have that, you know, he introduced himself as a working class Mainer. He, you know, at one point went to Hotchkiss Prep School. You know, he said that he got a $200,000 loan from the VA for his first house. Then it comes out that actually, you know, his dad loaned him the money. And so this is why there's been concern, because he's a first-time candidate. There's going to be incredible scrutiny in this race because Maine, if Democrats do not flip Maine, it's almost impossible for them to retake the Senate. And that's why there's going to be tens of millions of dollars in extra scrutiny on this race.
Well, and what you just laid out there, Alex, I mean, it strikes me one of the things that people have been saying when they praise Plattner and his campaign is that he presents as authentic, right? And the way he talks to people and the way his brand is consumed on their phones is authentic. But what you just laid out is essentially a list of inauthenticities.
Which I think is why, like, what every Democrat I've talked to the last 24 hours is saying is what else is out there. Because in addition to the authenticity, as you played the clips earlier, he said nothing else is going to come out. And most Democrats right now do not believe him.
Yeah, look, the guy's a fake. He's a fraud. Our K file, you know, you look at it, it says, he says, I didn't know it was a Nazi tattoo. Yet in his Reddit posts and files, he admits that he did. Right? He downplays sexual assault of women. I mean, there's an exhaustive list. Alex could have gone on for, I would cede my time and let him continue on, right? The guy's a fraud. He's a fake. There'll be so many ads against this guy that he's going to collapse. He will not be the next senator from Maine. Susan Collins will be there. Democrats should, I don't want to give them the game plan to win because I want Susan Collins to win, but I would not be voting for this joker.
What do you hear now?
I mean, Alex is totally right. It's exactly what I'm hearing from Democrats. They're wondering what else
could happen and what else is going to come once this primary is over and he is likely to be the nominee. I mean, the thing that Democrats have to, I think, contend with is for years they have been so critical of Trump, right? His personal life and all of the liabilities there. Republicans, they've been critical of Republicans always standing by him. Well, you have some congressmen, you have some people more privately saying, why should we be standing behind a flawed candidate if we've been so critical of Republicans doing the same? While at the other side, you have Democrats saying, well, because Republicans have been standing by candidates until the end who could potentially win, we might as well back someone like Plattner.
I mean, Ken Paxton did just win his Republican primary.
But if you stack up the Paxton versus this guy, I mean, it is. I think Plattner's got the OED of flaws.
I mean, he did have an indictment and impeachment, and then a wife divorced him on quote-unquote biblical grounds.
But if you look, I mean, they doesn't have the K files worth of.
Hold on, but Casey just played clips that and there are Democrats that are out there saying that this is unacceptable. You don't see that on the Republican side. Now that Paxton is
except for
nominee,
John Cornyn.
Except for John Cornyn.
Who did say that it was unacceptable.
But now that Paxton's the nominee, they're falling in line behind him and now going after Tallarico, and they're like, wait, what? You don't even care about this Paxton stuff.
Again, in totality, if you combine them, again, one is this high. So one is like, the Cliff Notes of bad, and one is the OED of
Don't
bad.
even get me started on Donald Trump, who was
saying.
indicted, and the Epstein files. I mean,
the Epstein files.
One thing I just want to add about Plattner, my colleague Hans Nichols just reported that Plattner is actually coming to D.C. tomorrow to meet with Democratic senators and do some fundraising, and I imagine the meetings will be at times contentious or have very probing questions.
And by the way, these are the things that get out before the primary, right? Before he can still get out, Janet Mills can still be the nominee. Once he's locked in, I think the dams will open. There are going to be more bad things coming. So if you're Plattner, go back to Oyster Farm.
Have to decide whether you're ready to go through all of it. All right, ahead here in the arena, the newest drama over the country's 250th birthday and what the president says he wants the party to look like.
I can't afford therapy. You can afford that matcha smoothie. Therapy is for rich people. No, it's like $15 a session. Girl, you gotta get therapy.
With Rula, getting help is easier than talking yourself out of it.
Come to us. What's happening?
Okay, we're hearing jets overhead.
We've all seen Russian bots on social putting out spammy content.
And one day you surprise her.
That what happens up here connects all of us.
Matching with my therapist was very quick and easy. I just filled out a couple of questions about things I wanted to work on. Before you know it, I was matched with a therapist. Really just checking in with somebody once a week is refreshing to be able to just share stories that you've had and share your feelings about a certain issue at work or something that's going on in your life. It's okay to feel things, it's okay to have rough days, and really just being able to speak about it helps get those things off your chest. I would say don't be afraid to find a better you.
This is the moment you become queen.
I got a really good feeling about this.
The Green Lantern's oath is to protect people.
Mr. Potter, I think we can expect great things from you.
Actual 5-star reviews of Bob's Treasure Mattress, performed by 5 stars.
If you're an early riser and have important places to be, do not buy this bed. It's too comfortable. It puts me in the most deepest sleep. Daddy hits snooze and I'm late every day.
I fear I may be reprimanded by my employer. And bed too perfect is not a good excuse.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Oh my God! Bob's Discount Furniture.
Here's a breakdown of what you can find every weeknight out front. Where are we when it comes to inflation? Direct, in-depth, and raw. Okay, now we hear the sirens. Getting ahead of the biggest stories and giving you context you won't find anywhere else.
How important is this moment that we are in?
Does it sound to you that we're on the verge of a potentially dramatic escalation?
Aaron Burnett out front, weeknights at 7 on CNN. And watch on the CNN app.
It's the most entertaining culinary competition we've ever seen. Chefs face off in a medley of restaurants, from fine dining to food carts.
Flavor Town Food Fight.
All new Wednesday night at 9 on Food Network.
Caitlin Collins is your DC source, bringing you unprecedented access to the White House.
What would you say to the survivors who feel like they haven't gotten justice?
Capitol Hill.
What does re-examining that look like? Are you saying that that's not going to happen? What exactly are your day-to-day responsibilities?
And beyond.
And good evening from Davos, Switzerland, where President Trump just capped off a whirlwind trip. You were obviously named by President Trump.
For in-depth political coverage and analysis, watch The Source, weeknights at 9 on CNN and watch on the CNN app.
I'm Daniel Day Kim. I'm going to South Korea to figure out how this small nation conquered the world with its culture.
I saw your move.
That's going to get people up out of their seat.
Tuck it out.
That's savage.
They are making Asians look really cool.
Join me and meet the artists and creators behind the phenomenon.
Hey, everything. Now streaming on the CNN app.
CNN This Morning with Audie Cornish. Weekdays at 6 a.m. on CNN.
I can't wade into the politics of musicians because, some musicians want to play music for everybody, and some musicians seem to have segmented their audiences the same way politicians have. But this is Freedom 250, and the celebration of the 250 is a nonpartisan event. And I would encourage everybody in America to get out, celebrate in your own way, celebrate in your own community.
That was the Interior Secretary, Doug Burgum, saying that the events planned to commemorate America's 250th birthday are, quote, nonpartisan. This after a majority of the artists who were slated to perform in a Trump-affiliated concert series dropped out, with some claiming they were misled. On Saturday, the president took to social media to mock those performers, saying that they were, quote, getting the yips. In the same post, he also proposed replacing them with, quote, the #1 attraction, the man who gets much larger audiences than Elvis in his prime. You, of course, guessed it, that would be Trump himself. Later that day, in a separate but equally lengthy post, the president openly mused about canceling the concert series altogether and replacing it with a Make America Great Again rally. Now, I'm just going to take this and segue straight into a previous guest who was just on an hour or so ago with my colleague, Brianna Keeler, Vanilla Ice, who is still reportedly performing, or slated to perform, at this concert. Here's what he said.
That's all we're doing is celebrating the birthday of our country. What's the big deal here? And as far as entertainers, I don't think it's fair to put any of us on a pedestal like that as far as politics goes, because, it shouldn't matter. We're just here to play. I'd play for anybody. So it's, I go play for Biden's family or anybody. It doesn't matter.
I'm here for the selfie live shot.
Listen, I love it. I love the Vanilla Ice is there. He's like, he's happy to be relevant.
I did look up at my TV and think, wait, is this live? Is this happening live?
I love it.
But David, what do you make of this? That
Look, I think I agree with Secretary Burgum there. I didn't know that there were that there was a partisan celebration. I think that before this all happened, I don't think that President Trump was out there saying, come celebrate at my party versus this other party. I was completely unaware of that. And
he does seem to be treating it a little bit like his party.
But now it's being treated that way. But the flip side is the talent that originally signed up for it, they don't have managers. They didn't read a contract. They didn't understand what it was for. I mean, and not to knock CNC Music Factory, some of these people that backed out, but does their fan base really care that they show up at something? I think it's really a mistake from them not to seize the opportunity. And I would say the flip side is for the Trump aligned organization, this celebration, they should just go to Nashville, go on TikTok and say, would you like to show up? I bet there's plenty of folks in America that would welcome an opportunity to show up at this concert and perform and be known and help celebrate our country's 250th anniversary. I don't think it was a Trump thing. Trump's now making it a thing about himself I don't think he was going to show up and sing.
I think I think you can forgive people for being a little bit skeptical of whether or not this is America's birthday party or Trump's, given that he has a commemorative coin, he has a $250 bill, that he is hosting a UFC fight on the White House lawn. There is example after example of not just the partisan entities, the Republican National Committee, but also the parts of the federal government that are very much leaning into this being a celebration of Trump's stewardship of America for the 250th.
It's also Trump's 80th birthday. It is a milestone birthday, and so I am sure that the president would like to celebrate in fashion. But what has happened is turned into Fry Fest instead of this celebration for Donald Trump.
That's obscure reference no one's going to get.
And Fry, people know what it is. People
it did take me a second, but yes, I do.
It is Fry Fest, yeah. So
let's watch what some of the late night hosts had to say about this lineup that was announced and has mostly since then been canceled. Watch.
It is a stacked lineup of people that you haven't thought about since 2009. Honestly, that sounds less like America's 250th birthday and more like the playlist at Rhonda's 50th.
This is a big concert in Washington on July 4th to celebrate our 250 years, and what a lineup they have. This is like Coachella for bands that hired their cousin as their tour manager.
After they announced this all-star lineup, a lot of them said, no, what are you talking about? We're not playing. That's got to hurt a lot when you can't close the deal with Milli Vanilli.
Half of it.
I mean, David, I will
Milli Vanilli.
half of Milli, yes.
It was only the Vanilli part.
was the only half that was confirmed.
Yeah, that was only the Vanilli part was coming. That was it. The other guy didn't even sing.
I mean, listen, David, I take your point. Like young artists from Nashville, people who want the exposure, sure. But this is a president who, was firmly formed in the 70s and 80s and early 90s, which I think is reflected in many millennials.
Well, the playlist, I've been to a lot of rallies, right? There's a lot of that. But if that was the case, if we were picking music, we'd have Andrea Bocelli playing, right? We'd have a different play. We'd have Elton John, Bocelli. We'd have a lot of different mix. Listen, I think it's a missed opportunity for a lot of people. I think we shouldn't lose, the focus on this. Look, I get the UFC fight. I get there's the coin, the this, the that. I think this concert was something different. I think it was made political because of it, and it's a shame. A lot of people are going to miss things out on the mall. Are the car drivers not going to come drive on the mall for the IndyCar race that we're having because it's a kind of a Trump administration sponsored event? I hope people come and celebrate our nation's 250th birthday. I hope they take advantage of it. If it's the Trump administration, they're putting it on, doing it, I think people should say, great, come and enjoy it. It's an opportunity.
Mariana, when you talk to folks on the Hill, I mean, Democrats in particular, right? I mean, listen, it is the 250th birthday of the country, right? This should be an opportunity for people to celebrate the place where we've all lived and enjoyed the freedom that so many people have fought for. But it's a reflection of how divided our times are. That I imagine if you went up on the Hill and asked how many Democrats are you going to the events, you'd probably get a lot of no's.
Yeah,
or they'd run the other way.
You're absolutely right there, because I don't think they want to be involved, and they would probably say, well, did you see all the celebrities saying that they were misled? This is probably just going to be a Trump vanity project. So if Democrats are already thinking of it that way, they're probably not going to show up. I don't even know how many Republicans, frankly, are going to go. They might want to go back to their own districts and have their own 4th of July parades and all of that. So, I mean, we will see what the reaction is going to be.
They should have done something for military families. That's what they should have done.
They are. If you look at the UFC fight, is going to be a lot military families on the South Lawn. If you're some hoi polloi, you can't get in. It's only for military.
So Trump's donors and friends will not be invited.
Some of the UFC people were, but it's primarily most of the tickets are going to military families. There they are.
Appreciate that. All right. On that note, we'll be right back.
Welcome to Drag Brunch. Every restaurant needs us for a different reason.
This place is struggling.
I want it to be successful. Priyanka, I really need your help. We attract a ton of customers, create a lot of buzz, and it makes the restaurants cha-ching.
Drag Brunch saved us.
All the news. Laura Coates Live. Weeknights at 11 on CNN and watch on the CNN app.
Hi, I'm Jackie, and this is The Real Real.
It's the destination for authenticated luxury resale. You can get a Gucci bag like me.
Or the Rose sweater like me. Or vintage Jimmy Choo heels like me.
Even a Cartier watch like me.
For up to 90% off retail. I know. Imagine getting me for that price. And they drop over 10,000 new arrivals every day from the best luxury brands. So there's always something new to browse. So check out The RealReal, where the fashion speaks for itself, and get $25 off your first purchase. Terms apply.
Why aren't we counted anymore?
Well, the all-new Certa Perfect Sleeper has the Q4 support system that helps relieve aches and back pain for perfect sleep night after night.
We'll never get counted again.
Nope.
Save this Memorial Day. Shop at a retailer near you.
Romy is not just about the places. It's really the people. And there's always so much to learn. I've never been here before. How cool is that, man? I want you to teach me how to do this. I have all these crazy dreams. To actually make them happen, it's a beautiful journey.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta reports Weed 8, now streaming on CNN.
Are you ready? Food Network is bringing you the biggest home cook competition, judged by the biggest names in the culinary world.
Series premiere, 100 Cooks, Sunday at 9 on Food Network.
30 seconds.
Wake up. Breaking overnight. Catch up.
New details and more questions.
Start your mornings here.
This is a pivotal week.
CNN News Central. Weekdays at 7 a.m. on CNN and watch at 8 on the CNN app.
As a plus-size woman, I want to feel loved. I want to feel desired.
Welcome to paradise.
Stefan's a TikTok creator living in this mansion in Vegas with all these plus-size women.
Everybody deserves to be treated with respect.
But he's selling a fantasy. You'll be loved here, worshipped like a goddess. But they don't tell you the price that you pay.
Are you a dangerous man?
Big Girls Wanted, Escaping Paradise, an ID documentary event. Premieres June 10th on ID.
Chaotic, triumphant, and controversial. That's not me. It describes Lady Liberty's journey of independence since she broke up from her ex, the clingy British Empire, 250 years ago. Hell, I did the same 18 years ago. I became one of you. I love this place. So how's the US of A been Yankee Doodly doing since her split? I'm hitting the road to find out, to see how the promise of this great nation is coming along.
Craig Ferguson, American on Purpose. Saturday on CNN and next day on the CNN app.
Watch The Lead, weekdays at 5 on CNN and watch on the CNN app.
The Situation Room, weekday mornings at 10 on CNN and watch on the CNN app.
The Story Is with Alex Michelson, weeknights on CNN.
Tuesday, key primary races across the country and the crowded governor contest in California. Who will advance? Get election results all night on CNN and the CNN app.
What's happening in the arena? I'll bring you the latest from the players who are actually in the game, because I want answers, and so do you.
The Arena with Casey Hunt, weekdays at 4 on CNN and watch on the CNN app.
All right. Thanks very much to my panel. Really appreciate all of you joining us today. Thanks to all of you at home for watching as well. Really appreciate you. Don't go anywhere. The Lead with Jake Tapper starts right now.
This is CNN Breaking News.
Welcome to The Lead. I'm Jake Tapper, and we begin with breaking news in our Law and Justice Lead. The Trump administration now says it will abide by a court ruling to pause the administration's creation of this $1.776 billion fund meant to compensate those who the Trump administration says were wrongly targeted by the government, which could possibly have included even January 6 rioters who beat up police officers. This pause was ordered by a federal judge in Virginia last week. It bars the Justice Department from allocating money to create this fund, or considering any claims, or distributing any money to applicants. The fund was created to settle an unprecedented lawsuit that Trump brought against his own government, or more specifically, the IRS, over the unauthorized disclosure of his tax returns years ago. By the way, that was during his first term it happened. But this was so controversial, this settlement, that even many Republicans in Congress were refusing to get behind it. CNN's Kristen Holmes is at the White House, and with me in studio, CNN's Paula Reed and our bureau chief, David Chalian. Kristen, what are you hearing from your sources about what led to this action?
Well, Jake, we've seen it. We've seen it in real time. We've seen it from senators, Republicans on the Hill, from even some House Republicans condemning this fund, saying they don't support it. And that was a lot of political pushback for a president that doesn't often get that from his own party. We heard from Senator Thune, the head of the Senate majority, who said that he spoke to Trump over the weekend and reiterated that he believed the fund should be dropped entirely. Speaker Johnson was at the White House today, and we were told he was going to have the same conversation, or at least talk about this weaponization fund. There was just an enormous amount of pushback, and I was told from multiple sources that President Trump acknowledged this level of pushback. He saw what was happening in terms of his own political allies. And the reason why this is so notable, when you look at this Justice Department statement where they say the department will abide by the court ruling, they would never put out this statement without full support of President Trump and the White House. Because the thing to keep in mind here, Jake, is that President Trump believes in this fund. He still believes in this fund. It's something that he wanted out there, but it is clear from talking to sources that he understands this amount of blowback that he was getting from the creation of this fund.
All right, and Paula, remind us of the judge's reason for opposing the fund, at least right now, and what exactly did the Justice Department say in response to this ruling?
So last week, this judge said that the Justice Department had to cease working on the creation of this fund. Remember, it's very early days. The acting attorney general still needs to select the members who will set the rules. But this judge said, stop all of that. We need to consider this lawsuit that was brought saying the fund is unconstitutional and a violation of federal law. Now, most legal experts say it is possible that this fund is actually legal and only Congress would really have the power to block it. But the judge said, I need to look at this. There's a separate case where they were also facing roadblocks in a suit that alleges this whole thing is part of an effort by the president to defraud the government. So they got a lot of bad news in court last week, and today they released this statement. The Department of Justice disagrees strongly with the decision on the anti-weaponization fund. They're saying wherein the court stated that under no circumstances may the Department of Justice proceed with the anti-weaponization fund recently established in order to make up for the tremendous abuse, harm, and hate unfairly shown to many people. This fund was open to anybody who was so weaponized, targeted, or persecuted, whether they were a Democrat, Republican, conservative, independent, or otherwise. The department will abide by the court's ruling. Well, yeah, it's a court ruling. You have to abide by the court's ruling. But what this does is this allows the Department of Justice to sort of put a pause on the fund. The next hearing in this case is about 2 weeks from now. So that gives them just enough time, potentially, to convince Republican lawmakers to proceed with their funding bill, get their funding priorities, and then they can circle back. So it's still an open question. Is this dead, or is it just a pause? My lawyerly reading, I think it's just on ice.
Just on ice. No, I would agree, just knowing this administration. It's not legalese. But, David, first of all, so much about the second term for Trump has been about vengeance against his perceived political opponents. He even said to his supporters, I am your retribution. So he can't be taking this happily, this news.
No doubt about it. And which is why it may just be this pause. Like, we have not heard from the president yet on this. But it is intriguing and really noteworthy, as Kristen was saying, too. Donald Trump is responding to this differently. Instead of right now, maybe this will change tonight, Jake, but instead of tweeting out or putting on True Social, like calling out Republican legislators by name that they won't pass the immigration funding and promising to take them down and end their careers, instead, his Justice Department is putting out just a statement of fact that they're going to abide by the court ruling as potential political cover to ease the way to allow Republicans to move forward with the president's agenda. He's not usually known to ease the way. That's not his approach. And I think the moment of political pressure he finds himself in speaks to his overall political standing right now, which is in a terrible place.
Yeah. While you were saying that, I went on Truth Social just to make sure that in the intervening minutes he had and he had not. Well, you never know, right? It's minute by minute. Kristen, congressional Republicans, all of the House, by the way, and a third of the Senate are up for re-election. They're very mad about this fund. Some allies encouraging the president to scrap it entirely. How much of this is them ideologically, philosophically opposed to the notion of creating this fund that can be, tapped by cop beaters? And how much of it is just like, ooh, this is a stinker of an issue with the midterms coming? Or both?
I mean, I think there's both, right? I think that they understand what a losing political issue this is to get behind. But from the lawmakers that I have talked to about this, they really personally didn't think that it was rolled out appropriately. This idea of President Trump settling with the IRS, with a Trump Department of Justice, this fund that had no real answers on how the money would be allocated, what the process would look like, who would sit on this board or be part of a panel that went through and decided who would get paid. There were so many unknowns. And the look entirely, they felt, these lawmakers that I spoke to, and these were Republicans, by the way, that it just smelled. It didn't seem as though something that had been really thought out on every single level. And that was part of the reason that these congressional Republicans across the board were really opposed to it. Now, of course, everything is going to play a role in people trying to get reelected in November. They're going to be taking every single thing that comes at them with a different scope, or looking at it through a different scope, given the fact that they are up, or many of them are up, for re-election. But I also had heard just kind of an earnest, what is this and how did this come to be? We need more answers from these Republican lawmakers. And one thing I want to note, when we talk, I know David was just mentioning this, President Trump, not only does he not get a ton of pushback from the Republican Party, he also, one thing he seems to have learned from his first time around is when he just doesn't want to expend political capital on something. We saw that with Matt Gaetz during the transition when he just dropped it, saying it's just going to not be worth it, though he was willing to go all in on Pete Hegseth, thought that would be an easier lift. This itself appears to be something that, at least for the time being, the White House doesn't want to put all their political capital behind, and particularly this is because of what we're seeing, as you noted, this deep unpopularity across the country right now.
It's interesting, David. The president seems very set on doing a lot of things that are not popular right now. If this had gone through, and it still might, as Paula
it's coming back.
I mean, I agree with you. And then January 6 rioters apply for it, which many have said they were going to, and they got to pay out. And you have one of the Proud Boys driving down the street in a brand new Lamborghini. How do you think that would play with the public?
Well, I think it's a political loser of an issue. I think it's why you see some Democratic governors and state legislators saying that they're proposing 100% tax on such payouts that may occur because they see it as a politically winning issue for them to keep it alive that way. Listen, you say Donald Trump's doing a lot of things that aren't popular. There's no doubt that this would be popular with a segment of his base and rev that up to the very people when he said the line, "I am your retribution," who applauded. I think there would be. But the problem is that is not enough to win elections. And so if this were to go through and those kinds of payouts would go out, trust me, it wouldn't even just be Republicans in the most vulnerable seats. You would see a larger swath of Republicans realize what a political stinker this is.
All right. Thanks, one and all. Next, the conflicting messages today revealing a he said, Iran said on the status of peace talks, plus the operation in Pacific waters, taking out suspected drug boats, or so we're told. My next guest says the mission actually is not stopping the flow of narcotics into the United States.
What our ancestors accomplished was nothing short of miraculous.
This Land premieres Sunday at 9 on CNN and next day on the CNN app.
Stay cool. Hey, BMW, take me to work. Don't forget Jean's birthday. Okay, I'm here. Let's do this.
You're good. They changed your call time.
Oh.
There's something about this place.
It's really our passion to share what we do with people like you.
Vive la France!
Eva Longoria, Searching for France, now streaming on the CNN app.
Wow, what is this place?
The RealReal is the destination for authenticated luxury resale. They make it simple to sell what you have so you can shop what you really want.
Can you believe my old owner paid retail for me when she could have just gone to the RealReal?
Shop and sell with the RealReal. Get $25 off your first purchase. Terms apply.
I want to make the most of every day. I do want to do 8 shows a week on Broadway. I do want to travel. And it gives me such peace of mind to know that I have this really simple and yet trusted way of getting all the nutrition I need. Oh, it's good.
Tried tutors? Tried apps? Still struggling? You're not alone. Stop the guesswork. Mathnasium gets results. Better grades, more confidence, lifelong skills. Trusted by over 1 million parents, Mathnasium works.
Our life has gotten so complicated that we are at a breaking point.
Everyone was talking about this calendar, so I'm like, okay, I gotta see what this is about.
Skylight is my ATC, my air traffic control center.
With Skylight, we have more time as a family.
Our lives were getting organized, everything is falling into place.
It makes life so much easier.
Yes, I recommend Skylight to everyone.
We want to live life, not manage it, and we appreciate that, and the calendar has done that for us.
Shop now at myskylight.com with 4 months free returns guaranteed.
Every Sunday night, he can't sleep. But not this Sunday.
When you really need to sleep, ZzzQuil has no equal. Get the deeply restorative sleep you need. ZzzQuil Pure Z's. Just for sleep, really great sleep.
It's been a crazy 4-year journey. Doesn't get much bigger than playing in a World Cup on home soil.
1, 2, 3.
The idea that the Late Show franchise is ending is a really big deal.
We are heading down a dangerous path.
I don't think that's the last we've heard of Stephen.
The Last Laugh, Stephen Colbert, now streaming on the CNN app.
Food Network chefs are counting down their top 10 favorite dishes.
Look at this guy. Perfect.
In every category.
This should be #1. It makes no sense that it's #2.
All new Food Network's Top 10. Monday night at 10.
In our world lead, the state of talks between the United States and Iran may have just taken a turn for the worse, or maybe not. We have another case of dueling narratives today where Iran or Iranian state media say one thing and President Trump says another, sometimes the complete opposite. This morning, Iranian state media reported that Tehran had suspended talks with the U.S. in protest of Israel striking what that country says are Hezbollah targets in Lebanon. Tehran said that violated the ceasefire. So when President Trump first weighed in on this today, he told NBC that Iran had not informed the U.S. it was cutting off talks. He said, quote, "I think we've been talking too much, if you want to know the truth. I think going silent would be very good," whatever that means. Later, the president suggested perhaps he did not think Iran going silent would be such a good thing because he apparently quickly staged an intervention between Israel and Hezbollah, writing on Truth Social, quote, "I had a very productive call with Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu of Israel, and there will be no troops going to Beirut. Likewise, through highly placed representatives, I had a very good call with Hezbollah, and they agreed that all shooting will stop," unquote. Just a short time after that, President Trump then posted, "Talks are continuing at a rapid pace with the Islamic Republic of Iran," unquote. So far, at least, Iran has not weighed in to either confirm or deny whether talks are continuing. Now, before Iran said talks were suspended, U.S. officials late last week had projected some optimism of a deal within reach. On Saturday, President Trump sent back changes to a proposed deal to extend the existing ceasefire and reopen the Strait of Hormuz. But even in the midst of that, the U.S. and Iran had both traded strikes, military strikes, late last week against each other. The U.S. saying it had carried out defensive strikes, including on Iranian mine-laying boats in the Strait of Hormuz, while Iran fired missiles towards a U.S. base in Kuwait. Today, U.S. military said that at 11 p.m. Eastern time last night, it successfully intercepted 2 Iranian ballistic missiles targeting American forces based in Kuwait. So stand by. Also in our world lead, the U.S. military said it carried out another strike Saturday on a boat that they accused of smuggling drugs. This one was in the eastern Pacific Ocean. The military says it killed 3 men, and this is the 4th attack in the last week. In total, since this all began in September, there have been at least 61 attacks by the U.S., resulting in at least 201 deaths. Now, beyond the lack of due process and beyond the questionable Trump administration assertions that these boats are terrorist in nature, and beyond the claims that some of those killed were simple fishermen, beyond all that, many experts and researchers also say that targeting these boats has not slowed cocaine traffic into the United States. Here to discuss is Adam Isaacson. He's Director for Defense Oversight at the Washington Office on Latin America. Adam, thanks for joining us. So you told the New York Times these attacks are not moving the needle on curbing the flow of drugs into the U.S. Why isn't it working in your view?
Well, they've been doing this since September, beginning of September. And cocaine, it's made in South America. It goes toward the United States. In the United States, 8 months later, we have seen no change in the price of cocaine. Just like gasoline, if there was less, it would get to be more expensive. Hasn't increased. No change in purity. The dealers are not cutting it with new substance. They have just as much as they did before. And if you look at what our border security forces, Customs and Border Protection, are seizing at the Mexico border, at our coasts, what makes it through this gauntlet of the Caribbean and the Pacific, they've actually found more in the last 8 months, cocaine, than in the 8 months before the boat strike started. So no change there either on the supplies of cocaine making their way, despite having killed more than 200 people.
On that point, according to CBP, the agency seized more than 47,000 pounds of cocaine in the 8 months since the strikes began, and that's more than the 43,000 pounds, 47,000 more than 43,000 the agency seized in the 8 month period before this campaign began. All of this during the Trump administration. But more seizures sounds like a good thing, and I'm sure Trump administration officials would say, hey, we're just doing our job better now. How would you respond to that?
Well, I mean, if you look at the map, you've got two levels here. You've got what is going where the boat strikes are happening, which is closer to South America, closer to Central America. If they are actually killing everybody who's carrying cocaine on the high seas, you would think eventually they'd stop doing that. People would say, let's stop doing that. Let's bring the cocaine some other way. That's probably what's happening. But what has made it through there to where the stuff that we're measuring is happening? If they're seizing more, that means they're finding more. That means more has made it through despite the boat strikes. They apparently are not deterring people from trying to move cocaine through the high seas. And of course, there's other ways to bring cocaine to the United States, too, that they haven't even thought about. So far, it's just not clear what they're trying to achieve here.
Do you think these strikes are illegal? I mean, you do. Why?
You look at it. You can look at it three ways. Under international law, it's something called an extrajudicial execution. You have done premeditated killing of somebody who they weren't even in self-defense. Under domestic law, premeditated killing of somebody not in self-defense. If you're a cop who shoots someone running away on the street, that's homicide under domestic law. And then finally, our own law of war, the Congress has to declare a war for these people to be considered enemy combatants, and of course they haven't done that. So you're 0 for 3 on the legal.
So what would be the most effective way to combat drug trafficking in your view? Obviously, you want to get rid of the demand side, but beyond that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're focusing just on supply, Coast Guard and the U.S. Navy sometimes have been doing this for more than 40 years without killing people. They patrol, they monitor, if they see a boat, they try to get it to stop peacefully. If it doesn't stop peacefully, they fire a warning shot. If then they don't stop, then they try to get a sharpshooter to take out the engine without killing people. And then you've got the people themselves who are a source of intelligence. You've got the evidence, which is the cocaine. That would work far better. In addition to that, I mean, so much of what gets trafficked, organized crime thrives because of their relationship with corrupt officials all the way up and down. Somebody's waving everything through the checkpoints and arranging this, getting things onto container boats and every other way that stuff makes its way north. There's very little in the way of prosecutions of that corruption. So organized crime has a lot of oxygen to breathe. So if I had to start, Southern Command has always complained that they only have about 15% of the resources they need to actually do that non-lethal interdiction. Give them more money. And then, of course, all the efforts to fight corruption, to help investigators and prosecutors and witnesses, et cetera, in the region, beef that up as well and make clear when, rather than work with corrupt leaders, actually name and shame them.
Yeah, maybe don't pardon corrupt drug dealing leaders.
We're seeing way too much of that as well.
Yeah, interesting. Adam Isaacson, thanks so much. Appreciate it. Ahead, the makings of a teenage terrorist suspect. My next guest is examining common threads in what seems to be driving Too many young people towards extreme violence. Stay with us.
You need to see a therapist.
I can't afford therapy.
You can afford that matcha smoothie.
But getting an appointment takes 5 minutes. Therapy is for rich people. No, it's like $15 a session.
Girl, you gotta get therapy.
With Rula, getting quality, affordable mental health care is easier than talking yourself out of it.
In a divided America,
where do I fit?
You tell me, ask your party.
Abby Phillip brings all sides to the table.
I hear what you're saying Trump believes in, but do you think it's a good idea?
Newsnight with Abby Phillip, weeknights at 10 on CNN and watch on the CNN app.
These are turbulent times.
The crown is a weight that crushes. You'll do things that spell death for all involved.
We are exposing her as weak.
My enemies have been allowed to muster their strength.
Did I not warn you that you would come to this?
This is the moment you become queen.
I got a really good feeling about this.
The Green Lantern's oath is to protect people.
Mr. Potter, I think we can expect great things from you.
Actors on Actors, new season streaming June 3rd on the CNN app.
Once you strike that first note, there's something that happens.
Earth, Wind, and Fire were making a whole different sound.
It wasn't even a show. It was theater. We tried to bring us together as one. We didn't know what effect it would have.
They made you feel anything was possible.
Let's brawl.
They pick their teams from the best barbecue talent in the country.
This is the best cook on any meat that I've had today.
You ready to kick some barbecue brawl butt?
All new Barbecue Brawl Monday at 9 on Food Network.
Welcome to Drag Brunch. We attract a ton of customers, create a lot of buzz, and it makes the restaurants cha-ching.
Start with breaking news on several fronts.
Want to know what I'm thinking about?
Let us break it down.
It's chopped on a deserted island. The baskets and the challenges are like nothing we've ever seen.
All new Chopped Castaways, Tuesday night at 9 on Food Network.
In our national lead, the shooting at the Islamic Center of San Diego last month is one of the latest cases of teen violence tied to radicalization on the internet and dark web. A new article in the Free Press examines the making of a teenage terror suspect and goes into what can drive a teen to plot a violent terrorist attack, who's to blame, what, if anything, a family can do to de-radicalize their child. Joining us now to discuss her reporting is Maya Salkin. Maya, thanks for joining us. So much of your reporting focuses on one specific Ohio family. They led a fairly ordinary life, were religious Christians, 3 boys, and then they describe it as terrorists breaking into their home through the computer screen and targeting their most vulnerable family member, their middle son, a 14-year-old boy who's autistic. Tell us more.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. So like you said, this was a lovely family. They have 3 boys, and they did everything right. They did regular screenings of their son's phone. They went to church. They had family game nights. And yet it really was not enough to protect from the fact that their son was leading what I can only describe as a sort of double life. In this case, on a platform called Discord, which is quite popular for gamers and teenage boys. And what I would say that has been the most shocking in reporting this story are that the conditions that led to this 14-year-old's radicalization are actually not that unique. I think they're shared amongst a generation of young boys who are isolated, who are lonely, and are looking for meaning on the internet, and they are being met with bad actors who are keen on radicalizing them.
And your reporting found that the teens who are targeted and recruited by these violent extremists are often male, often isolated, usually searching for meaning and purpose. You also found that teens on the autism spectrum are particularly vulnerable to radicalization. Why is that?
Yes, so in my reporting, I talked to a de-radicalization expert who now works with this boy. And before he was a de-radicalization expert, he was actually an Islamic recruiter for jihadist terror himself. And what he told me is that these recruiters look for young boys who are vulnerable, but who are also predisposed to some level of binary thinking, who are susceptible to looking for a form of authority. And like you said, this is not uncommon. Like you mentioned, the San Diego shooting at the mosque that killed 3 people, the family in the days after that event came out and said that their son was on the autism spectrum and that he was radicalized on the internet.
So it's interesting. In this case that you report on in Ohio, it's jihadist terrorists, but this really is a phenomenon that could be for any kind of radical ideas, right-wing, left-wing, whatever.
Yes, I would say this is an epidemic of violent extremism, of radicalism. You have violent nihilism, like you said, on the left and the right. And what's happening is that these platforms have become a breeding ground for these levels of extremist thinking that parents, even with all of the safeguards in place, really cannot protect against in this moment.
What are the signs parents should look for? What, if anything, can they do to keep this radicalization from happening? And then if it starts happening, to bring them back to reality?
You know, one thing that these parents told me is they said, we went through the checklist that every parent does when you have a teenager who is inevitably going to be on the internet. They were looking for cyber bullies, for sexual predators, and they just never thought this was something they had to think about. And what I would say is that this is just another thing to add to the checklist for every parent of a teenager who is on the internet, regardless of any, new policies these big tech platforms put out. It is your job to do routine sweeps to check in with your kids. And in terms of de-radicalizing, this is a process that has taken this family 2 years, and it would not have happened without, this de-radicalization expert that they found at an organization called Parents for Peace, which is now funded by the DHS, because this is really an epidemic of radicalization that's hitting the country.
Maya Salkin, thanks for coming on, and also just congratulations. It's a really compelling story. It's very appropriately sympathetic. You earned the trust of this family, and you just describe a phenomenon that really could happen in any neighborhood, in any part of the country. So congratulations, a really good story on the Free Press. So if you're interested in reading more, please check it out. Thank you.
Thank you so much for saying that and for having me on.
Ahead, the medical fight to stop Ebola. CNN's Clarissa Ward is on the front lines there, suiting up in the epicenter of this deadly outbreak. We're going to go there live.
I can't afford therapy.
You can afford that matcha smoothie.
Therapy is for rich people. No, it's like $15 a session.
Girl, you gotta get therapy.
With Rula, getting help is easier than talking yourself out of it.
You could spend all day sorting your employees' expenses. Or you could let Ramp do it.
I like that.
Never chase a receipt again. Ramp. Love finance.
Weeknights on CNN.
Tonight on 360.
The stories that matter.
This whole area is just engulfed in flames.
From a trusted voice, Anderson Cooper 360. Weeknights at 8 on CNN.
Rome is not just about the places. It's really the people. And there's always so much to learn.
I've never been here before.
How cool is that, man?
I want you to teach me how to do this.
I have all these crazy dreams. To actually make them happen, it's a beautiful journey.
I can follow you like a dog to the end of the world. To the end of the world. To the end of the world. Do you want me to stop?
Scared?
Until death do us part.
Bring your heritage, bring your culture, but bring an open mind, because it's America.
This great American story of adventure and exploration changed everything.
All of our ancestors made possible what we have today.
That sense of discovery is one of the best feelings in the world. Delicious.
I realize how nice it is to have the freedom that we have.
Why We Dream, now streaming on the CNN app.
Rhaenyra's coming.
We are exposing her as weak.
My enemies have been allowed to muster their strength.
Welcome to Drag Brunch. Every restaurant needs us for a different reason.
This place is struggling.
I want it to be successful.
Priyanka, I really need your help.
We attract a ton of customers, create a lot of buzz, and it makes the restaurants cha-ching.
Drag Brunch saved us.
And our world lead CNN is on the front lines of the deadly Ebola outbreak in Africa. As of tonight, the African Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says the number of confirmed cases in the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda is at 263, with 43 confirmed deaths. More than 1,100 suspected cases are still being investigated. CNN's Clarissa Ward gained extraordinary access to the so-called red zone at a hospital in Bunia in the Congo, and shares now the heart-wrenching mix of grief and fear and little hope.
It is a surreal but now all too familiar ritual. Healthcare workers painstakingly disinfect the coffin of the latest suspected victim of the Ebola virus at Bunia's General Hospital. As family members look on in anguish, unable to get close to their loved one, torn apart by grief and consumed by fear. Oh, my father, why, God, this woman cries. Oh, God, this is my only father. As the dead are carried out, new potential cases are arriving. At the entrance to the hospital, everyone's temperature must be taken.
So this is the room where they take people who are found to have a fever. There is a woman in there now. Obviously, they don't know if she has Ebola or not, but they're going to keep her here until they do more tests and get a better sense of what's going on.
At a makeshift coordination center inside the hospital, Dr. Richard Cajon and his team are working round the clock to keep up with an outbreak they say is out of control. They agreed to show me and photojournalist Alex Platt what they're up against.
We are now getting ready to go into the so-called red zone of this hospital. That is the area where all suspected Ebola patients are put. And there is a lot of protective gear, unsurprisingly, that one needs to wear to go inside.
Bundibujo is a strain of the virus that few were expecting. There is no vaccine and no cure. The doctors write our names on our backs so they can recognize us. And then it's time to go in. At the moment, patients are treated in hastily constructed tents. 30-year-old Gloria is a lab technician, one of dozens of healthcare workers believed to be infected.
C'est difficile à respirer. She says it's difficult to breathe.
Earlier, we met her sister waiting outside for news.
J'ai vu votre sœur. Elle attend le moment qu'elle peut vous embrasser encore une fois. Voulez-vous que nous disions quelque chose à votre sœur pour vous? Un message?
Do not be afraid, she says. But it's impossible not to be scared. Some of the patients here are in very bad shape.
How do you stay strong when you're seeing this?
For me, it's our humanity, you know.
Your humanity.
Yeah, it's our humanity. When people are suffering like this, like that, you know, I feel it. I feel it. So it was in coma.
Yeah.
It's Ebola confirmed.
10-year-old Meshach is still very weak, his mouth ravaged with blisters from the virus. He asked the doctors for a banana, an encouraging sign. Slowly, slowly, Dr. Cajon warns him. His condition is improving, but he has a long way to go.
He wants to lay down? Let's help him lay down then.
They lay him down in the corridor while his room is disinfected. Nothing about this situation is okay. But these doctors are doing everything they possibly can. As we walk to another ward, a familiar sound in the distance.
You can hear the cries of a family who are claiming the body of their loved one. This is a scene that's playing out here multiple times every single day.
This is a temporary ward for suspected cases. Patients lie waiting for test results that are taking up to a week to process.
So this is the situation that healthcare workers really want to avoid and are racing to put a stop to. You have 5 patients in the same room, all of them suspected of having Ebola, but doctors can't be sure. They can't rule out the possibility that one person in here may not have Ebola, and then, of course, there's a strong chance they could contract it.
Every exit from the red zone is as careful as the entry. Protective equipment must be sprayed down with chlorine and methodically removed.
We were in there for maybe half an hour, and I could barely stand up by the end. It's incredibly tiring, really hot. You're sweating so much, you're thirsty. I just, like, help us understand the kind of stamina that you need as a doctor to be going in and out of that red zone multiple times every single day.
It's really hard. We have to stand strong for those patients, and otherwise, you know, the situation will be really very, very bad.
That 10-year-old boy, that's hard to see.
The first day, he was really bleeding, a lot of diarrhea and shock, so you have to get a way to give IV fluid. It's not really easy. So, and for me, like ICU doctor, when you have a situation like this, it's very hard to say, I have to stop because I'm tired.
On the outskirts of the city, the family we met earlier is burying their father, 72-year-old farmer Papa Babona Baudouin. The burial team forms a cordon around his grave, the mourners forced to grieve at a distance. The final cruelty of this vicious virus.
And Jake, it's really hard to overstate just how heroic these doctors and healthcare workers are. Dr. Richard Cogent, who you saw in our piece there, this is his 6th Ebola crisis that he is responding to here in the DRC. And he said the challenge with this one, Jake, is that they are playing catch up because it is an unusual strain. When people were presenting themselves early on into clinics, they weren't showing up and testing positive for Ebola. And so it took doctors weeks before they understood that, in fact, this was Ebola. Now they are desperately trying to limit the spread, but truly they are doing God's work, and they have a long road ahead of them, Jake.
Larissa Ward in the Democratic Republic of Congo for us. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Amazing report. Coming up next, the politics lead, Maine Democratic Senate candidate Graham Plattner doing some damage control, a sexting while married scandal complicating his campaign if voters were already iffy on him. Might this be the controversy that turns them away, or no, not at all?
Thank you for calling the Bombas Comfort Line. Please listen carefully as our menu options have changed. Bombas is socks, slippers, tees, and underwear. Crafted with the finest materials. Press 1 for comfort, 2 for style, 3 for great gifts. You chose comfort, softness, a bit of So run in Bombas, sleep in Bombas, pet a llama in Bombas, give back in Bombas. Because with every purchase, one is donated. Bombas. Visit bombas.com and get 20% off your first order.
This is the moment you become queen.
I got a really good feeling about this.
The Green Lantern's oath is to protect people.
Mr. Potter, I think we can expect great things from you.